Actors, you have made it. Welcome to Screen Acting School. So you can grab a coffee, maybe a pen, open up your heart, and get ready. But remember, this isn't a TV show, it's a class, and it's not free. You're paying by showing up and doing the work. So we are so excited to see you subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you're coming back week after week and watching these videos, but you haven't subscribed, go ahead, hit that button. If you have already subscribed, thank you. We adore you and we appreciate it so much.
All right. Should we get started?
I think so.
I think we should get started. This is an extra special lesson today, so we will get into the good stuff because this week is all about the craft of acting and what makes a character sticky. So yes, I made up that term, but it's something that we've seen our clients do. Everything from Caleb Worthy's character, Des in Austin and Ally, was a very sticky character, and Carlos Diaz's character in Conclave. A sticky character is something that casting and your agent and your audience will remember. So we've got a script for you, and we're going to be looking at two very different characters. One who is an everyman archetype. So for that everyman archetype, think Tom Holland in Spider-Man as Spider-Man. It's the everyman, right? And then think Zendaya in Dune, which is the rebel archetype. So we have those two different characters. I'm going to upload the script, and then we're going to get someone
Or
to
two
someone
to
to someone to read it.
So we are going to ask two people to read this script. And I'm going to ask you guys to make note on what comes to you during the read, okay? So you can physically take notes or just a mental note of, what comes to you, what kind of stands out for you. And we're going to have a discussion on that a little bit later in this lesson. So Mel's saying, or no, Beth is saying me, I'll read. Okay, well, hey.
Yay. Oh, thank you, Beth.
Beth, you're in. Gloria has offered to read. Those are who I saw. The first two, I saw Beth and Gloria. So everybody see that I've just popped in now? So exterior, underpass, night, wonderful.
So do we have a David and a Lenny? So David is the everyman character, the person who's very like by the book, and Lenny is the rebel character. So I think we'll get Beth to be Lenny, and Gloria, you can be David.
Awesome. And you guys have it there? Perfect. So you can unmute yourselves and go for it. And remember, before you start, for everyone that's reading along or listening, we want you to really make note on what comes to you during this read, okay? What things stand out. So go ahead, Beth and Gloria, take it away.
You're late.
Miss me?
You ignored the route.
Some of us like to make it interesting.
And some of us like to stay alive.
Some of us like to live.
You remember the exit?
I never forget a good escape plan.
Then follow it. Nothing interesting.
Can't make any promises.
All right, nice work. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much, ladies. And remember, make notes or mental notes of what came to you. We're going to be discussing this a little bit further on in the lesson. Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So today we're going to learn how to create sticky characters, right? Those are characters that everyone, including casting, will remember. Does that sound good? Yes, it does. Okay. So this methodology is for you if you are done blending in with 97% of the actors who show up at auditions with characters that are either boring, aka polite, generic, forgettable, or inaccurate. Not the scene, not the tone, not even close.
Yeah. So if you want to be the actor who makes the casting team sit up, lean in, and actually care, then this class is for you. So we're talking specificity, clarity, and choices that make sense and spark, right? So basically stop being forgettable, start being castable.
Absolutely. I want to thank you too for both stepping up and doing such a good job with those archetypes. That was excellent. I really enjoyed that. So this is how you're going to book more, stand out, and stop leaving auditions wondering, did you do enough? We're going to give you the tools to build bold, specific, sticky characters that live in casting directors' heads rent free.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to learn 3 things today, okay? So number 1, the text is the mission, not a vibe. The script is like your briefing. So every word has a job, right? Like a sniper or a spy. You don't move unless it's in the plan. So guessing, that's how characters die.
And number 2, you're going to learn the operative word. So as you were listening to that script or as you're reading that script, think about what the operative word is. Every great scene has a word that carries the weight of the scene or the moment. So find that word and then build around it.
Yeah. And then number 3, you want to be unforgettable? Don't try to be original. Be unique and specific, okay? Sticky characters are built by saying the line your way with total commitment to the text. So don't rewrite, reveal. The clearer your choices, the stickier you are.
We want you to be sticky. And if you're in Audition Plus, you're working on the ruler archetype, right? So guess what? This week is about you making the choice to rule the work. So know your text, and then you can create a sticky character for the ruler archetype. Are you all ready for that?
Yeah.
Audition. Yeah. Yay.
Awesome. I see lots
Oh,
of
here's
nods.
Malcolm.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's talk sticky characters. Okay, so we've got a few questions for you, and you can pop your answers in the chat there. We would love to hear them. So, question number 1, are you discovering the character through the text, or are you just guessing what might be interesting or maybe something that's true about you? So we
Yes.
know. Yeah.
Yes.
Are you actually discovering the character through the text you're given, or are you just guessing what might be interesting or something that's true for you?
And we really want to know.
Both Shauna says, yeah, both says Shakti. Yeah, that's honest, right? Sometimes, yeah, more guessing and looking for something interesting, says Lindsay. Okay. Beth says, I look at the text and I look at how I'm spoken about and I look at how I speak. Okay. Gloria says, I think I often just guess and look for something interesting. Yeah. Van Earl says both is true for him too. Richard says he's discovering through the text. Yeah, okay, so a mixed bag, right? Or sometimes it's a bit of both. Yeah.
Yeah,
Virginia
text is everything. I want to know also, when do you think the last time was that you made a casting director feel something with just one word? Like there
Yeah.
was something in the way that you articulated that word, that moment, and casting was like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly, right? So think about that, even if you don't pop it in, because in this week's sticky character lesson, we're going to show you how one word said with the right intention can actually build an entire performance.
So many of auditions have no words. Yeah, it's true. So you have to do it all with behavior, right? I hope too soon, says Malcolm. Absolutely. This will help. You know what? If someone gave me a script right now, I could look at it and know how to find the core of the character really fast. Could you do that? Could you do that? Could you do that?
We want to know. Papa Richard says yes. Noel says no. Lots of no's. Virginia says 8 out of 10. So sometimes, most of the time, Virginia. Almost, says Linda. Taylor says no. It'd take a few minutes, says Lindsay. And it says halfway ready. Brian says yes. There was a couple other yeses. Sandy says yes. Kyla says depends on the script. Some are more complicated for me than others. Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's going to get so much easier the more you do the work in Audition Plus. But let's be real, because most actors take the script for granted. They do. And they focus on something unique or personal, and they do that. And apparently, most people have really boring lives because most auditions are exactly the same. They're creating exactly the same character, and casting is like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
you don't want to do that. We're
No,
against it.
not you. So, are you ready to jump in? Because we want to make sure that you know how to turn one word into a sticky character that everyone remembers.
Yeah. Does that sound good? Maddie says, yeah, let's go. All right. Well, Maddie, and for those of you who don't know us, I'm Casey. I'm your acting and audition coach. I live in a cabin in the woods on a farm with 100 chickens, 3 cats, 2 dogs, and various human beings. And I love living where I love to do and doing what I love to do, coaching actors to do grounded, fearless, sticky work.
Yeah, and I'm Donna-Marie. I'm your mindset and visualization coach here at Screen Acting School. And as most of you know, I live in the big city because, well, I love people watching, action, and helping actors believe in themselves so strongly that casting starts to believe too. So Casey and I coach actors who walk the red carpet for the Oscars, Golden Globes, Emmys, and they book life-changing roles in the #1 shows in the world. So we come with receipts, and now we're here for you too.
Now, this is something that some of you may not know. I'm going to tell you a secret. Lean in. Donna-Marie and I have some very sticky characters in our personal lives. I have relatives who are spies. Let's just say my aunt was a spy. Well, was it my aunt? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it was my uncle. But let's say it was. And let's say she was deep undercover. If she messed up even a single phrase in her story, it wasn't just wrong, it was game over.
Yeah, and some of you may know my dad, he's a sniper, right? So in fact, he trains snipers all over the world to protect everyone from kidnapped children to heads of state, and you get one shot, right? Sometimes after waiting for hours or even days, there are no second chances. And he used to say, when you go up against the bad guys, you've got to know with everything in your being that you're the one who's going to win. So for actors, that means you don't shoot unless you know, unless it's on the page.
And that's what a script is. It's not just lines. We want you to think of it as your mission brief. The writer is your commanding officer, and the text gives you permission to move, because without it, you're improvising in in enemy territory. So, how do we use this way of approaching the script to create sticky characters?
Yeah, you always go back to mission command, okay? The script. Sticky characters, the ones who stay with us, they don't come from making stuff up. They come from being specific and knowing.
And it's not about showing your range. A lot of actors want to show their range. It's about the truth. It's rhythm, it's intention, and it's why we don't interpret lines just because we feel like it or it feels like us. We find the character in the line. So how do we do that? We look for an operative word, a word that defines the character and their place in the story. And we use that word to create a sticky character.
Yeah, so your job is not to make the word sound cool, okay? It's to make it sound like you in those given circumstances. And you need to play it like the mission depends on it, because it does.
So, should we look at the script we just read? What do you think the operative word in that script is?
You can post your answers in the chat. Okay, Regina says interesting. Noelle
Interesting.
says interesting.
Okay.
Linda says late. Interesting says Van Earl. Shakti says interesting. Chelsea says alive. Beth says live or forget
Or live or forget.
or live or forget. Yeah.
Ignored.
Ignored, live. Okay, okay.
Very interesting. What do you get for the tone of each character? Now, for the readers of the script, you got the tone.
Mhm.
Got the tone. And we did give you examples of the types of characters that we were looking for. But what do you get from the text about the tone for the character?
You want to tell them what the operative word is, Casey, or?
Well, I suppose we could tell them. So the operative word in this case is interesting. Both characters have it, and both characters say it differently. So both characters have a different way of interpreting or understanding the word. And
Mhm.
if you're not looking into both your character and the other character and the given circumstances, then you're not going to pick up on that. A lot of you did. Very, very proud. And even if
I
you
was
didn't pick
impressed.
up, even if you didn't pick up on it, it's okay. It's actually kind of hard.
Yeah. And now you can go back and you can go through this again and redo this exercise. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
but let's talk about tone in the writing. What do you see about the tone of the characters? Because I want to get a sense of how you interpret text for tone. And sarcastic. Very nice. Sarcasm. Yeah. It felt like a buddy comedy. It could be a buddy comedy. It could be. Lenny was playful, didn't conform, and David wants control. Nice. There was banter, kind of serious. Yeah, it's a serious tone. We have one character who is very serious and one character who's a rebel who's not serious, a little flirty.
Mhm.
Some of us want to make it interesting, flippant, sarcastic. Serious tone, serious but with comedic touch. So the uh the character of Lenny uses humor to to avoid getting in trouble, essentially, to to be rebellious with David and to flirt a little bit with David. So the tone of it is not a comedy, but the humor helps um David. It helps lighten up the seriousness of the moment, and it shows us who the character is, what their perspective in the world is, that kind of thing. So when we're looking for tone, we're looking for both the characters and the script. This is not from Legion. I wrote this. So it's just a little script to show how you can use an operative word to find the character.
Mhm.
Boss babe. like playing it for real, but who they playing it for real, but who they each are. Yes, exactly. You're looking at who they are, and then you're finding yourself in that character.
Yeah.
So what can the operative word show you? What can it not show you, I guess? What can it reveal about the character? Anybody? Dave could be insecure, unsure, looking for confirmation. He could be, but he's an everyman character. So the everyman character are generally, so they're like the girl next door, boy next door. So Tom Hanks plays them a lot. Spider-Man is an everyman character. They're the kind of character who are good and they know they're good. They're good people. They have a way of operating in the world that they're by the book kind of thing.
Mhm.
It shows their world lens, how they see the world. Thank you.
Yeah.
State of mind. It also does show status between them because David is coming across like he's the boss, and Lenny is like, well, you think you're the boss. We'll see who bosses it up. So, yeah, absolutely. Very nice. Great understanding. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that. This is so good, you guys. So
Yeah.
Casey's obviously identified interesting as one of the operative words in that scene there. So how does David mean it when he says interesting? What do you guys think? How does what's the meaning behind interesting when David says it? And then what does Lenny mean when she says the same word? You guys can, type both of those in at the same time if you like. I don't have to make you type twice. Um, Richard says
Oh, a
question
warning.
mark. Regina says a warning.
Mhm.
Virginia says, like, don't be smart.
Yeah. Don't be a smart ass, Lenny.
Smart,
Don't be smart.
yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. Some really good ideas here.
Mm-hmm. They really, really are.
Follow
Stay
the plan versus
plan.
living the life. Ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm. He's cautious with it, says Lindsay.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And how about Lenny? What does Lenny mean when she's saying that word?
Lenny
Lenny
makes it
makes it
intriguing.
intriguing,
Yeah.
rogue. Yeah, great ideas, you guys. So they're completely different, right? Lenny makes it as enjoyable and exciting, says Maddie. Yeah, reckless, a little like me, says Richard. Lenny goes with the flow.
Lenny's flirty, right?
Mhm.
A little flirty. And if you look at even the line, Lenny saunters over to David. So sauntering is different than walking, right? When you're sauntering, your hips are in it. You've got a little playfulness. So you want
100.
to do everything. Lenny pokes at the rigidity. Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Brian says Lenny, interesting, fun, inventive. David, interesting, is risky and dangerous. Yeah, totally, Brian. Totally. Now, here's a question for you.
Mhm.
What happens if both of them say that line in exactly the same way? What happens then? I'll tell you. The scene dies.
Exactly. That's
Dies.
exactly what Beth said.
Oh,
Yeah.
did she? Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, Beth. Yes, it loses all meaning. It's boring. Yet, Beth, literally, you were on our script, Beth. I love it. I love it. Good job. Word for
Mhm.
word. Yeah, you guys, that's exactly what happens, right?
So say you're a flirty person and you're playing David and you want to bring part of your personality to David. Should you do that? No, you should not. That's part of your personality that you're going to leave at the side and you're going to use the part of your personality that reflects what David is, because we all have all of those things in us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we know that the operative word is interesting. It's said twice, but it holds two totally different meanings. And that's how the scene lives, right?
Yeah, right. So we talked about David says interesting, like it's kind of dangerous, like it'll get you killed, right? Lenny says it like it's a game, a spark, something to flirt with. And that difference is the scene.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, right there. So let's chat. So where are you at right now in your character building process? Right now. So when you get a script, are you actually reading for story like an actor, or are you just memorizing lines? And you can go ahead and pop it in. We're going to ask a few questions, but these are really great things for you guys to think about and be mindful of. So when you get a script, are you actually reading for story, or are you just trying to memorize the lines? Reading for
Read for
story versus
story. Yes, yes.
oh,
Good. The
yeah.
arc, see what she wants. Yeah, story. Not only what she wants, though, I would encourage you to look at what both characters are wanting.
Hmm.
Story, I've always been good at memorizing. When you read story, you're good at memorizing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
lines will flow.
And Kyla's saying I used the once upon a time. Yeah. So you're reading for story, right? That's Casey's method that she teaches in Audition Plus so that you can understand the story and break that down. And that then you don't need to try and memorize the lines because it helps with that an awful lot. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Virginia says this, I read story. I've always been good at memorizing, so I'm just building the world from what they give me. But Virginia, I would actually pose the fact that you're good at memorizing is because you're using the once upon a
Read the
time
story.
story.
Yeah,
Right? You're
yeah.
understanding it, so you don't even need to try to memorize. It's really cool.
It
Yeah.
flows. Yeah. Everybody who studies with us, who learns the once upon a time thing, talks about that, how they could memorize, 7 pages of dialogue or whatever,
Mhm.
or multiple scenes with 7 pages of dialogue for auditions. So it really makes a difference looking for story. There's something that I want to talk about that we briefly touched on, and that is if you're not slowing down to understand the rhythm, the tone, and who the other character or characters are, and what they're throwing at you, then you're probably going to miss out on the operative word, and you're going to miss out on the dynamics between the characters. That
Yeah.
means you're missing your character, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you need to know who your character is in the scene, right? So do you know who your character actually is in that scene? So in Audition Plus, we work on archetypes, right? Because archetypes make understanding that character so much easier. For those of you who are in Audition Plus, as soon as Casey said, okay, you know what, the rebel and the everyman, you guys knew, right? You'd worked on it. It was easy for you to pull out, right? So really, really important in understanding the character and making that so much easier. So, are you just playing what would be fun for you, or are you being specific to that scene? So, we want to stop the playing vibes and start playing intention. Okay. Characters aren't born from feelings, they're born from decisions. So in Audition Plus, we're giving you those real tools to break down the scenes fast so that you're not wasting your time making vague choices.
Mm-hmm. And the emotion that you bring up, the feelings that you bring up, they'll relate to the piece. They'll relate to the story. They won't just be you. So when you prep a role, you have to think, am I defaulting to personable and relatable? People talk about relatable characters all the time. Or do you say, and no one has ever said this because I just invented this term,
But
but
you will now.
is the character sticky? Because most actors are building safe, soft, forgettable characters. And we're going to teach you how to do specific scene defining moments that casting directors and really, really important, the audience remember.
Yeah. So we're here to help you build those repeatable habits, not just give pep talks. Okay, I know I do that a lot, but so we want you to get this process tight. So let's do that. So when that right role shows up, you're already playing at that level. So if your scenes are falling flat or you're not booking like you want to be, then you need to review your process, and only you can fix that. So if your work's not sharp, don't make excuses, sharpen it. Right? You know, if your prep is kind of like, eh, fix your process, not your personality, because we love all your personalities. Because let's be real, most actors aren't getting cast because their characters just don't stick. They're general, vague, fine, but fine doesn't book lead roles. You guys know that, right? So start with the operative word, okay? That is now one tool in your toolbox that we've given you today. And that one word in the scene really defines how your character sees the word, the world. So that one word in the scene that really defines how your character sees the world. You hit that, right? And boom, the whole scene lifts. The whole scene lifts.
That's true. And you don't get that by glancing at the script once. You've got to read it over and over again, 10, 20 times. You know, some actors that we've worked with and other actors too, famous actors, will read the script, a full script, 200 or 300 times to feel the script, to feel the story within them. So do that. Take notes in your journal, not in your head. Write it down, like actual physical notes in a journal. Write it down. You want to do that. It makes it real. And then listen for something that's repeated. You want to hear the rhythm, you want to hear the emotional shifts, and you want to hear repetition. So there was another phrase that was repeated in the script, right? Some of us, some of us like to make things interesting, and some of us like to stay alive. Some of us like to live. So there we have a phrase that's an operative phrase. So you want to look at what that storytelling is. You want to build it up, right? Maybe you want to ramp that up, or maybe you want to get it lower. You just pay attention and you make the choices. But ask yourself, where does the power live in this scene? Don't memorize lines. Analyze the character and story, and that's going to make your character super sticky.
Yeah, and that's what we want for you guys, right? So if you're in Audition Plus, as we stated before, you're working on the ruler archetype this month, right? So this week is about owning your prep like a boss, okay? That is my challenge, our challenge for you. So not rushing, not guessing, not just hoping that it clicks, right? Like a sniper with a confirmed target or a spy with their memorized backstory. I want you to go in knowing exactly who you are, you know, how you speak, and why that one word in the scene can really give you a sticky character.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Noel's asking, should we read it that many times? Not 200 times, but read it 10 times. Read it at least 10 times. You get very short scripts in an Audition Plus, easy to learn, right? So you want to read them over and over and over again and see what you get. And sometimes it's just getting it in the back of your head. It's like the repetition from Meisner, right? The repetition makes it sink below the intellect and into the heart, into your soul. So those of you who are in Audition Plus, we have a little challenge for you. Is everybody up for the challenge?
I hope so. Thumbs up.
I
Yeah.
hope so. Do we have a challenge? Okay, good, good. So we want you to go through your ruler script, read the script again and again, and then write what you learn in your actor journal. And if you don't have an actor journal, you can just go anywhere and get a journal, or even just even just a notebook like this. These, cheapy little notebooks, $2 or something like this. Find your operative word, post it in the group.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to hear about it. So go through. That is your challenge, Audition Plus. Now, if you're not in Audition Plus yet, enrollment is currently closed, but if you would like to be next in line, then I'm going to pop the link in the chat for you, okay? Popping the link in there now. So if you want to be in line when spots open up, then go ahead and fill that out, okay? If you want to make your character sticky, if you want to make yourself a sticky character, one that's top of mind for your agent and casting, then the mindset work we're doing in Audition Plus is really going to be unbelievable for that for you, okay? But I will say, please know that when you do apply, this is not first come, first serve waitlist. We are only interested in working with actors who are committed and passionate about moving their craft and their career forward.
And you have to be a good person.
Yeah.
You have to be a good person, no exceptions. So let us know about your goals and dreams in your application. Tell us who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the community inside Audition Plus is so incredible. And we are not going to let that get messed up for nothing or no one. So I'll pop that link in for you again. If you are interested, you can go ahead and copy that for yourself before we finish today. And here is the beautiful truth, okay? If you choose to accept it, you are only one audition away from a life-changing role. So let's make sure that everyone in that room remembers you. Okay, I think that's a wrap for us, KC. Don't forget to do your homework. Post in the group, Audition Plus people. Let us know your operative word. Read that script a few times. And I think we'll see you on screen.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. And Landon, if you have any trouble, just message us, okay?
Absolutely. And you can
No,
always
you've been
us at info@screenactingschool.com if you need a hand. All right. I think that's a wrap for us, Casey.
Yay, wonderful. All right.
So,
We'll see
bye.
you on screen. Bye.
Thank you.